So, welcome everyone to the third of our sessions talking about stuff that you can do better in your business with a particular focus on the Rockefeller habits and the EO technology partner Zoho. But today we're going to talk about automations, and I'm going to do that in the context of a tool called the Sweet Spot, and an acronym that is called SODA. So without further ado, I'm going to get us going. My name is PG Gelnys. I'm the Strategic Alliance Chair for EO Cape Town. I do a whole bunch of things, but Lucky Safaris and Walks of Gratitude are the main ones. And I am here speaking today in my capacity as a Strategic Alliance Chair of Cape Town to showcase some improvements that you can do on your business and the technology partner that we have aligned for you for that. I'm joined by Wilhelm Balser from Outsourced CFO, one of our Cape Town EO members. He is a cyclist and a father, and not in that order. I think he's about 1 week away from popping out another one, not him personally, that would be something, Wilhelm.
Well, if you look at me, you would think I should.
And Wilhelm is an expert in system implementation, integration, and business analytical services. And the format of today is I'm going to tee up sort of the learning piece in terms of the training we do in the accelerator program, and then Wilhelm is going to showcase all the automations that support that thinking, and also tell us about the integrate starter pack that he's put together to help people implement the systems that is optional for EO members. We're going to talk about the 3 Ps in a bit. We're going to first talk about the 3 S pluses, and just in terms of the agenda, I'm going to spend about 10 minutes just talking about sweet spot and coaching. Then I'm going to tee up SODA and Zoho, and then that's going to segue into Wilhelm telling us how all the automations are used with them in their business. And then we're going to just finish up with telling you where to go if you wanted to go to next steps. All right. I'm going to ask you to keep questions until we've gone through the entire presentation, and then we can have Q&A at the end to kind of sort out all the bits and pieces. If you're desperate to interrupt because you don't understand where we are, just put it in the chat, and we'll monitor it, and either myself or Wilhelm will have a look here, but otherwise keep the questions to the end, please. We're a small crowd, so this is not really important. Please use have your video on them so we can see you, and then raise your hand if you really have to talk to us before the end, and then definitely when we go to Q&A at the very end. So, teeing us off, as an accelerator trainer working with the scaling up methodology, I am also surrounded by a really cool bunch of people, and particularly Andy Clayton from the UK came up with a methodology called the Sweet Spot. And this is the website sweetspot.guru. And it's essentially for you and your teams to do the things that you really should be doing. And it goes to that old sort of Jim Collins methodology of getting the right people on the bus. But it doesn't help if you've got the right people on the bus and they're not doing the right things, right? You want the right people there, and then you want to figure out what they should be doing. And often you can find someone that's really amazing at sales, getting stuck in admin, or vice versa. And then you want to change that because a creep happens in terms of people doing the wrong things. So if I can ask those of you in the room, you can just put in the chat box for me, in your daily work schedule, what task is your favorite? What do you love, your daily or your weekly? What do you love doing? Like, what is something that you really dig doing as a daily thing? Just put in the chat for me. We'll take a minute for that. I see chatting to clients, connecting and engaging with people, building systems, and creative work. So you should be doing that stuff all the time, right? If you'd like to connect, engage with people, somebody else should be doing your admin. And to that point, in the chat again, what do you absolutely hate doing? Well, really, I don't have to do this. Put in the chat for us, please. Hello, is teeing it up. Manual work, but I know a system can automate it. Excel spreadsheets, yes. I personally hate doing paperwork, signatures, documents people send me that I have to sign off and resend to them. It's my personal bugbear. So there's stuff that you love doing, there's stuff that you hate doing, and I see a lot of people going, well, admin is really not your sweet spot. So, hold on one second.
Sorry, just to add, I think Caroline and I are direct messaging each other. Not that we're not responding to you, Peter, we just didn't realize that.
Well, that's cool. You know, as long as you guys have a nice conversation on the side, that works for everybody.
You should have told him, Wahid.
Sorry about that. I don't know how that even happened.
It's all good. All right. So, guys, here's what we need to understand as leaders of organizations is what I really love doing, right? Is necessarily what you love doing. And the same thing that helps me get towards my higher nature is a hindrance to you and vice versa. So it's crucially important to understand that even if I hate doing it, doesn't mean that you would hate doing it. And it's all about cultivating a team that makes up for those weaknesses and things that you hate doing and allows everybody to sit in their sweet spot. This spreadsheet that you'll get on sweetspot.guru talks about the 3Ds, the drains, disasters, and the distractions, right? The drains are important. They need to be done, but they're not in your core skill set. The disasters are bad use of time, like you actually really dislike doing them. And the distractions is you like them, but they offer little value. And always think of it this way. For me, distraction is doing social media posts. You know, I actually enjoy doing them. I can actually spend a lot of time on them, but they offer little value. I actually have a guy that can talk in my voice that I pay to do it for me. Right. So the fact that I enjoy doing it doesn't mean I should be spending my time on someone else that could do that better. Disasters, that's the admin stuff that we talked about in my personal case. And that's probably important as well. Important would be stuff like, I don't know, doing invoices or reconciling bank stuff. I don't actually mind doing it, and it's important, but I've got people that are better at it than I am. So what we talk about the sweet spot is go slow down. You make a list, and we're not going to do that today because this is actually a 1-hour workshop that I run with teams, and it's basically getting people to sit down and say, right, what am I doing? How am I spending my time? Track the whole week of time and then go, where does my time go? And in which of these activities can I stop? Which of them can I outsource? Which of them can I delegate? And which of them can I automate? So some things you should just not be doing anymore. Some stuff, social media, accounting, and all that stuff that's not in your core skill set, you can outsource. What is your assistant, your marketing person, your CFO should be doing that you're actually that you can delegate, and what do you no longer need a person for, really? And this is where it becomes really exciting for me, is the automation part of it is something that I've been loving playing with in my business for the last month or so, as I've been building out new frameworks in terms of my sales funnel. So if you had to do this with your team, or even if I had to speak to you as a business owner, you will find all of these points of resistance. You know, I don't know what I love doing. I don't want to spend money on outsourcing all of this stuff. It's on me. Nobody can do it as better as like me. And I can't even think that anybody would want to do this admin, all this stuff that I really want doing. And the biggest fear of all is if I were to outsource and delegate and automate all this stuff, what's left for me to do, right? And what does that feel like? And that's almost the biggest point of resistance. So the ways to overcome it is just start doing. Action leads to insight. You really have to spend first, and that's always what we talk about when we talk about scaling up. Is there is that valley where you spend first before you get to see the other side, but you have to take a view of how important is your time, right? You need to understand that your 3Ds are other people's sweet spots, and you have to have a tolerance for mistakes. You're going to automate, you're going to outsource, you're going to delegate, and mistakes will happen. What's your tolerance for mistakes? Because the reverse is you do everything yourself, mistakes will still happen, but to a lesser degree, right? And that's Tim Ferriss in the 4-Hour Workweek really unpacks that quite well about setting a parameter for how far you're willing to for things to go wrong. But the baseline is you can get more out of life if you follow this methodology. So here are some of the questions that we use, and again, you will find this if you go to the website. if you want to coach your team on this tool. And guys, the book, you can buy the book, you can go and download the spreadsheets, and all the resources are there for you to do this with your team. It's a great little methodology. And off this, by the way, about a year and a half ago, I completely outsourced all the stuff that I hated to do, and I haven't been doing them since. I get my assistants to sort out that stuff for me, because I just realized this is not a good use of my time. And I got that. So we do a coaching exercise, which we're not going to do today, because the purpose of this meeting is to anchor that idea with you that stop, outsource, delegate, automate. And now on the automation side, I'm going to hand over to Wilhelm to take us through some of the beautiful things that you can do on an ERP system. And I understand that the systems that are out there, the HubSpots, the Pipedrives, the Salesforces, I'm just talking about sort of general CRM and salesy systems, the Xeros, the Pastels, like there's an enormous amount of integration automation that can be done. For the purposes of this discussion, we're going to talk about Zoho, which is what I'm on, and which is the deal that we've done for EO on behalf of members. And on that note, Wilhelm, over to you.
Great. Peter, if I can ask you to just two things quickly, go back to that the drain slide, drain disaster distraction, and then number 2, also just give me rights to share my screen. There I see it come through. If I can just quickly ask you just to fly that slide.
I'll put it up for us. Give it 1 second. And it was, hold on. It was this one, right?
There we go.
There we go.
All right. Thank you very much. All right, guys. Thank you, Wahid. So you've been here for all 3 sessions. So for today, what we've been doing is building on the previous 2 sessions. First one was a very brief introduction to Zoho CRM and deals management. Last week we went into using Net Promoter Scores, enabling another component of Zoho. And today we're going to look at a little bit further deeper automation. So if you want to know more about the previous sessions, they are recorded and they are available on Peter's website. So please go and check them out. So for today's session, I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into some of the components to automate those components further. Ooh, excuse me, how to automate that further, how to utilize more of the tool, not all of it, because otherwise we'll be sitting here all day. And then I'll also chat you through some of the interactions that the tool can have with some other softwares out there that might sound familiar to you, or that you might be using already. Now, before I get started with automation, these 3 Ds on the screen, when Peter showed them yesterday, they just showed them yesterday to me in our prep meeting. They just related with me so well of what technology can also do to us. Technology can be a drain to us. Technology, when implemented incorrectly, can be a disaster. And also sometimes technology can be a distraction. You like to look at it, but does it really bring that efficiency? So whenever we start the conversation with clients to say, okay, you want to automate your business. Everyone wants automation, hey? Everyone wants dashboards. We all want it. We all want less Excel spreadsheets. We all want to travel more. And there's some things and we probably all want to be paid more. But there's some things that we all generally want to do. And what we just regularly find is that clients, if they don't watch out for these three Ds, when they engage new technology, it can very easily fall into that trap if they plan it and scope it correctly. So that's just something that I wanted to say, is that everything that I'll show you today, don't let it be a distraction. If you see the value in it, right, let's engage, let's scope it, let's build it out and make sure that it's going to work for your business, so that when implemented, it works on day 1. and not 6 months down the line, you're still tweaking and still wrestling with it. Okay, so that's just my first just shout out with regards to technology. All right, so I'm just quickly going to share my screen, and I'm going to dive directly into Zoho. Can I get a thumbs up if you can see my screen? All right, fantastic. All right, so the technology partnership that EO has with Zoho is specifically related around one of their products called Zoho One. So what Zoho One is Zoho has multiple apps. So they first developed their CRM, then they built another add-on, and then they started seeing that clients started using all these add-ons, and then suddenly there was a drop-off. The clients didn't use them anymore, and they found that it just got too expensive for every single add-on that you add. So what they developed is this Zoho One package that gives you, at an extremely cost-effective price, the top 40 Zoho applications. And I'm quickly going to touch on a couple of them this morning. So we've been spending our time in CRM. And I'm quickly going to go to CRM. I've open up a contact here for myself. Now, one of the things that we do on a day-to-day basis is ensuring that we have our clients' records and that we have our records updated. Now, when we get a new client, what many of us do, we either Google them, we look for their email address, we look for their website, some background information, or you have an admin assistant that does that for you. So a very simple and easy automation that Zoho comes standard with is called data enrichment, and something that is very easily overlooked. So this can be done for a contact, which is an individual, or it can be for a customer, which is a company. So what I've done is I've just opened up the contact here, and to the top right-hand side, there's 3 little dots, and there is a button that says Enrich Data. Now, when I click that, all the little Zoho bots run out to the world, and they say, all right, they take my email address and just take the @OCFO, and they also take Wilhelm @OCFO. They do 2 searches, and they look across the world, and what they're looking for is they're looking for where am I based. Okay, so the Zoho can do that immediately. So what this one button does is it already segments my clients into local and foreign as well, all the different countries. So I can immediately do a plot chart to see where are my clients actually coming from, where they're contacting me from. LinkedIn, the city, telephone number, our Twitter handle, zip code, physical address, alternative email addresses, Facebook, all of that. Okay, so because I use Wilhelm @OCFO as my company profile, that's why it's picking up all this information. If I put in my personal email address, it would have also found my personal Facebook, my personal LinkedIn, etc. So it's a very quick and easy way to ensure that you have all the information that's available on your client, and you can click update the record, and Zoho does it all for you. Very easy, very simple, and safe. I just want to say I'm from the Western Cape. There we go. All right, so a very quick and easy piece of automation, something that's not a drain or disaster or distraction, something that can be done very, very quickly. All right. The next section that I'm going to look at for automation is some of the automations that we run in our deals module. Now, in Zoho, deals is you've got 2 sections. You've got leads, so this is where all your clients come in from your website or your social media, etc. They're all logged there as leads. And as you start engaging them, you would convert a lead to a deal, meaning that when you've identified that there is actually value here, there's actual client engagement that can reside here. Now, this is our deal pipeline. This is the way that we use it, and this is fully customizable to your requirements. And I've just quickly filtered here for one sample deal. Now, our stages that we have here is first we have a call or a meeting with a client. Then the call meeting is done. Sorry, we schedule a call meeting and indicate that the meeting is done. We then send them, we used to send them a Google form. I must actually update that name to Zoho form, that gathers the company information, financial year into all the information that we need to service them. Then it will go into proposal sent. Sometimes we lose that client. Proposal accepted, that's where we're going for, and then closed and paid. And then we have a last one that says upsell, and then one that's junk, whereby somehow it got through the leads into the deal pipeline, and then at the end we realized actually they were trying to sell us social media marketing messages some way. All right, so in many of these deal pipelines, and you might have worked in software whereby you've seen this, and it's very simple to say, great, it goes into stage 1, it has a 10% chance. Now I've had the call, yes, it's done, and I can drag and drop that across. Now I get an email to say the client has completed their form, I can drag and drop that across, etc. In Zoho, you can automate this entire pipeline. Now, to give you an idea here, when we have a meeting with a client, we use our VoIP telephone-based system. Okay, so it's a little app that's here on my computer. There it is. You should be able to see it now. And this is what we use to call clients. Now, the telephone number for the client is already in my system. And Zoho CRM is also synced to my telephone system. So what we've done through automation is the following: to say, whenever this client is called, number 1, log that a call took place. Number 2, if it was a call to schedule a meeting, if the call happened and if the call was longer than 5 minutes, we see that as we had the initial call with a client. If it's less than 5 minutes, it was, hey, yeah, okay, let's schedule a meeting, probably. If it's more than 5 minutes, we've probably pitched and done the whole meeting over the phone already. So through automation, we've added that component that when we've done that call, it will automatically move that deal stage to the next phase. And when it reaches this phase, it will automatically send a mail to the client saying, thank you for our call, or here's attached our company brochure, and very specifically, here's the link to complete for our Zoho form that gathers all the necessary information that we need in order to scope the client, in order to provide them with a proposal. Okay, so you can kind of imagine already what we're going to do next. As soon as that client completes that Zoho form, what's going to happen? Am I going to come here and move it manually? No, it's going to automatically move it because the client's already completed, there's unique links in it, and immediately it's moved to the next phase. All right, very simple, easy automation, but through that, we know that our deal pipeline, our sales stats, and our projections are accurate to the T in real time, and not reliant on someone that needs to either do it manually or a dad that's going on paternity leave on Friday, and now suddenly everything stands still for 2 weeks. Our businesses and the technology moves at such a fast pace. We need to have these types of automation, not to be held hostage either by staff. I'm an owner, but I'm also a staff member, so I can't hold my business hostage. If I have automation, I want to use it in order to enable my team and enable my business. All right. So now something a little bit different. We don't use Zoho to send our client proposals. There's a different piece of technology that we use that we personally at Outsource CFO, it just works better for our business. Okay, so it's called Practice Ignition. And what it basically does, it sends proposals to clients. It allows us to scope our engagements to the level of detail that we want. I'm just putting up a sample system gap analysis here for R1. It allows us to pull to structure our deals the way we need to, electronically send that to the client. Now, once someone sends it to the client, immediately that deal stage will automatically update again to proposal sent. If the client declines that proposal, it will go to proposal lost. If we re-enable it because they declined it because they want adjustments and send it again, we'll go back to proposal sent. Okay. Our sales consultants never have to come to the deal pipeline in order to make any changes. All right. So eventually we get to the point whereby the proposal is accepted. Hallelujah. Yes, we've got a new client. WW Corporations is one of my entities, so I've just sold some work to myself. Great. What needs to happen now? So we've done the proposal. Now a quote needs to go to the client. Well, we already have all that information, either in Zoho or in our case, inside of Practice Ignition. So we've done the integration between this application, between our financial accounting system, Xero, which I know a lot of EO members are making use of. Is there any EO members on the call that make use of Xero? Don't see any hands. Okay, great. Well, you'll be exposed to many EO members that makes use of Xero from a financial accounting point of view. So what we then do is make sure that once the proposal is accepted, again, that invoice gets automatically sent to the client. And then when they pay and that account is reconciled, automatically this deal again moves to close and paid. All right, just gonna stop there. Now, I've spoken a lot about how automatically the information, the deal moves between the different stages. And I've also indicated that we've used Practice Ignition to send the proposal. We used Xero to send the invoice. We've used our telephone system to make the calls. So how does that, where's that deal now? So the amazing value of this integration is that everything then comes back again into a single place. Okay. So when I'm going to open up this deal now, you will see that number one, it has a full history, the timeline of everything that happened on this deal. Number two, it's got all the information from the client, everything that we needed, as well as it's got all the information from the other applications as well. So if anyone ever asks me for this deal, show me the original proposal, I can immediately go there and open up that proposal and show it either to an internal staff member, the client, or just myself if I need to refresh myself. If I want to get access to the quote, immediately it's there. If I want to get access to that invoice that was sent, immediately it's there. So automation just allows, and specifically in Zoho, you can use Zoho for what it is extremely good at, extremely healthy and functional CRM, and a great place to securely capture, store, and protect client data. POPI, GDPR, Zoho is already fully compliant for that. And you can then go and put your fingers out in the other applications through automation, pull that data into one single place. Now, additional value to that is that one of your team members that need to service this client would need access to this information, but they don't need access to everything else. They don't need access to your full company books or all other proposals. They just need access to this client. So by doing this, you ensure that you remain POPI compliant and you remain GDPR compliant by only exposing data to an individual at the appropriate time, at the appropriate stage. All right, so just a quick walk through there from an integration point of view on the deal pipeline. So now we've got our deal done, it's closed, it's paid. Now we want to start our engagement. Now we do a lot of project management for our clients. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to kick off a client onboarding project, and then kick off the subsequent projects that will be in alignment with the service that we're going to offer for this client. So what I'm going to show you now is two Zoho specific applications. The first is Zoho Flow. Okay, so this is one of the built-in automation tools, and the next one is Zoho Projects. So just a quick high-level overview of the two. So I'm going to quickly go to Zoho Projects. So what I've done here, because I originally moved that deal into closed and paid, it automatically kicked off the following project to say client onboarding, a client sales onboarding. And this is our checklist to ensure that everything was done, everything is correct, everything is in place, that our engagement letters are signed, that we have all the company details, do a double check on that, that we have all the invoicing, and if there was debit orders for retainers, that's all been signed, filed, ready to go. That that our debit form is accepted, payment received, that our team has been allocated by the practice, that our systems are updated, and ensure that there is a client team intro and kickoff meeting. So there's a lot of automation that happens behind each of these steps. But we have this checklist internally that we don't need to manually create, it automatically creates. And through that creation, it has multiple effects again, from running into different projects for this client, for the work that needs to be done on either a recurring basis or on a once-off basis. And we achieve that by using Zoho Flow, which I had open. There we go. So we have a bunch of flows, and basically it works in a nice visual diagram. So the nice thing about this is once you are familiar with the tool, it's a drop and drag functionality that you can, with the appropriate guidance, can start building your own workflows inside of your business. So we have, once a deal is updated to a specific state, we go fetch the account, the deal is closed, then go create the project, update a bunch of it. This gets a little bit more technical, but you can create these flows across multiple applications, across multiple environments within Zoho and outside of Zoho, where it's looking into pulling data into the business. So that's just some of the automation tools that is extremely efficient inside of Zoho. It's always risky when a technology tries to be everything to everyone. So that's regularly you need an ERP because it's going to do everything for you, or someone might come to you and say this technology is going to do everything for you. Zoho runs the risk of promising that as well, because if we look at their app marketplace, they've got so many applications that on first glance, one might very quickly get the sense of, hey, but this technology is going to do everything for me. And in many cases, it does do everything for your specific business needs. The one needs to scope that. But the one thing about Zoho specifically is their API, Application Program Interface. And because it's what is called an open API, we are able to integrate any other application that has an API into Zoho. Meaning that if there is a function outside of the Zoho sphere that you make use of, connect that application with Zoho, whether it's your Zoom, whether it's your Google Calendar, if that is what you prefer to use, or your Gmail. We use Gmail as a business. Now, Zoho has Zoho Mail, but we use Gmail. It's just what we prefer. But what we've done, however, is integrated the email component into Zoho, so that for every time an email is sent to a client or received from a client, a copy of that email comes into Zoho and resides here to create our central client database. One place whereby we can go to view all client data. And again, fully automated. No manual work that needs to be done. Hey, wouldn't that be nice? All right, so that's just quickly touching on the Zoho Flow component. All right. Wahid, yeah, you're still here. So last week we touched on Zoho Forms. We looked at survey and we looked at forms. And one of the comments that I made was, survey is amazing if you have a very quick, easy, simple questionnaire that you want to get your NPS rating from a client. Whereas the Zoho Forms is really strong when you want to do something a little bit more complex. And we used this example we used this example last time around. This is the Zoho Starter Pack sign up sheets for the EO members, which I'll come back to. But what Forms is really great at is allowing us to say, right, you ready to let's go, then it lists a list of options, or if you want to arrange a call, it lists a different set of options. Okay, so that's what we briefly touched on yesterday, last week, Wednesday. So I want to take this to the next level to say, all right, but what does form more complex and more automated look like? So we have a tool that we've developed, a lot of R&D, many months of R&D went into this tool, and we're excited to launch it into the market in the near future. But what it is a 9-step checklist of that gives a company an overall financial health rating. To say, is your bookkeeping in place? Is this in place? Is your SIPC? It takes you through a list of questions to give you a baseline test or a dipstick test of how well is your organization doing from based on your size. Is your structure and your systems and your controls and processes aligned with your stage of growth? That's what the tool is designed for. And it's a really amazing tool to help clients on that journey. Now, we gather quite a bit of information through this tool. And what we've done through this tool is inside, and this tool lives in Zoho forms. It's amazing. What you see here is a Zoho form. But what Zoho Forms allows you to do, and if you go into the form itself and go into settings, there's a section that says document merge that can again allow you to connect it to another Zoho component, which is Zoho Writer. All right, so I'm not going to go into the full technical details of it, but what we've done is we've built a big database of best of breed ratings and weightings, and based on your answer, it will give a numerical figure of the value of that rating, etc. And what Zoho Forms and through the automation inside of Zoho does, it condenses it back into a simple, number one, email to say, hey, Vlalam, thank you very much for completing the tool. Your overall rating is 52%. Okay, now this was just, you can see some test data. All right. And immediately it attaches a report with the list of criteria that we've gone through, as well as recommendations. This is a tool that's fully automated, no human involvement, and immediately as a business gives me a high level overview of, well, my bookkeeping is in red. Okay, there's some serious consequences that's happening there. And then the report goes down and breaks down further detail. Okay, my compliance, okay. I was worried about it, but amazing, I'm doing well. Yeah, I know I need to, I know I've got automation, but I know it can be improved. Yes, my financial information is not quite met. Need to improve there. So it breaks it down into strategic environments whereby you can be focused. Now that's the outcome of the tool. And again, this is a process that we used to do manually for clients, and it would take us 3 hours of consulting, engagement, and sitting with a client to get to this point to say your health is XYZ. Now it's fully automated. Click of a button and you can get that result in a matter of seconds. There's a good old story whereby there's a boat, the boat's broken. Old man, someone says, who's going to fix the boat? An old man arrives, he walks into the boat, he spends 2 minutes, and they just hear one loud hammer bang. He just had a hammer, and there the boat, it works again. And when they got the invoice, it was for something like $50,000. And then the company says, no, but you spent 2 minutes on site. Give us a detailed breakdown for the invoice. And then when they got the details, the guy replied, say, here's my detailed invoice. Time spent 1 minute, 2 minutes at $5. Cost of the hammer, I think it was $8. Experience and time and investment that went into knowing where to hit the hammer, the remaining amount. And the same principle applies here, is that as you grow your business, and we've all got unique IP that we've built in our business, if you use your technology in such a way that it supports that and takes away your time, it takes away admin time, that can just enable your business to grow to the next level. All right. Last two things before I'm going to wrap up. And again, this is very high level, because when you start your automation journey, it's important to first scope that, to say how deep and how far do you need to go with your automation, and what is your immediate automation needs, wants, or your blue sky dream thinking part of it, to really weight and rate each step before you start your deep automation journey. All right. So the last thing that I just want to show then is dashboards. Okay. So we use social media marketing. We use it quite effectively in our own business for the type of clients that we want to reach. And we use cross-platform. We use Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter. Oh, yesterday I was in a meeting with our marketing manager who would love to bring TikTok in as well. I don't know, so I think I'm too old for that already. But we want to be able to use that across all the platforms, and it is quite time. This takes a lot of time to look at all the reports, collate all the reports, and it's just a time sucker. And what we found is that people started hating the social media job because of just the reporting side. Okay, too many Excel spreadsheets. So Zoho has a component called analytics. Now, analytics is extremely powerful. Analytics can connect to every single application within Zoho, as well as thousands of applications outside of Zoho. So what we've done and I'm just going to use our marketing as an example, we've connected Zoho Analytics to Instagram's analytics module. We've connected it to Facebook's analytics module, to YouTube, to LinkedIn, to Twitter. So what it does is every 3 hours, it pulls the live data from these platforms, it overlay it across all the platforms that we wanted to do, and across all the different ratings and all the different environments that we see as important, giving us the full track record of where our social media following has grown, dipped, etc., baselines, all the information. Extremely powerful. Now, we do this type of reporting across all aspects of our business. We've connected this to Xero. Obviously, I can't show you the financial data live here this morning, but we've connected that to Xero to pull all our departments reporting, to pull our departments reporting and split it out visually the way that we want to, and being able to filter it. We use it, we pull in our monthly deliverables. Our management goes through that, single dashboards where everyone can go to view what's the overall status of all our projects and in which stages. We do that for our annual work. We do it for our social media. We do it for our internal reporting. We literally can use Zoho Analytics for every single component of our reporting needs in our business, which is then accessible and simple to view and easy to access dashboards. You can even go further and add Zaya to it. If Andrew was on the call from Zoho, I would have asked him what's the correct pronunciation of Zaya. But Zoho even comes with a built-in AI called Zaya that then is able, if you set it up correctly, to take this information, start interpreting it, and start sending you alerts. Hey? That's just taking it to another level. Okay.
Well, Helen,
so,
I think Andrew is actually on the call in the background, so he might be able to help us out there.
Yes, Andrew,
How's it going?
Great.
Yeah,
sorry, you weren't here when we started.
Yeah, sorry, I came in a little bit late. I didn't realize it was the same link for every week, so apologies for that. But yeah, it's pronounced Zia, and it stands for, it stands for Zoho Intelligence Assistant, or Zoho Intelligent Assistant. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
And it's basically our it's AI.
Yes. So it's extremely powerful, and you need in my life it's a she, and she really helps me to, if I have a simple question that I want to ask, I pop it into Zia and it immediately spits out the answers for me. So as you grow through your Zoho journey and as you mature into the technology stack, and again, there's a whole host of technology applications within the Zoho ecosphere. Then that starts building and building and building and building, and it starts making predictive analysis and it starts making suggestions for you. So when you get to that level of automation, you just start running away from your competitors. When you get to that level of automation, it's so difficult for new competitors entering the market to catch up. All right, so that's a very quick crash course, high level overview of some of the automation possibilities within Zoho. It's really, this session was really here to pique your interest in terms of, or not to pique your interest, but to let your mind go and to think, all right, I've seen all of this. Obviously, we don't know yet necessarily how to do all of this, but what I see here is there's so many new things that I can actually do for my business, things that I might have wanted to do for a very long time, or things that I thought it's not possible, technology can't do it, or it would be too expensive to get the appropriate technology application to do this for my SME business, even startup. Okay, so the great thing about being part of the EO network is that you've got access to this platform. Peter will give you more information on how and what the technology deal is with Zoho. And then from my side, that's a wrap from my side. My information, I'll pop you the information in the chat of how you can get hold of me if you want to ask any additional questions or want any assistance to do some of these things that we've shown on the screen for your own business. We are here to help. We use it ourselves. That's how we got to know Zoho, started using Zoho ourselves, and we just started loving Zoho as an application. Okay.
Thank you so much, Wilhelm. And before we go to Q&A, we've got a few minutes to do that. But I wanted to just again show you guys where all this stuff sits. This presentation will be recorded and added to these two. This website URL is pgtops.com/Zoho, right? And I'll be sharing that across the network on a continuous basis. But we've got the sales funnel, the NPS videos from the last 2 weeks, and we'll have this video up here shortly as well. If you go to EO credits, you will see what the deal with Zoho looks like. This is all the stuff if you wanted to adopt this technology. Understanding, as Wilhelm said, that there's a physical understanding of what you want to achieve first. It's a process mapping, analysis of your needs is critical before you go down this road, because as we say in Afrikaans, there is a million things the system can do for you, and you can get lost and discouraged if you're not very sure about where you want to start in terms of onboarding it. But there's a lot of tools here, and if you needed help with that, Wilhelm's organization details are on the second tab, which is the Integrate Starter Pack, and you can see all of their stuff there and what that would look like. All right, so that's just the sort of admin, pgtops.com/Zoho is where you can find all of this information. Are there any questions for myself and Wilhelm at this point before we kind of wrap this up? Q&A time.
Yes, I have one, Wilhelm. When you spoke about the your telephone into Zoho, does that apply to, for example, a consultant's mobile phone? Can I make it any phone, or must it be the office general line?
So I can only speak to our application here specifically. So our office phone is on people's cell phones. So the app is on my cell phone. So when we're on the road, I actually still calling from the office. Because, and this is now a very personal thing, something that I hate is not being available to my clients. And when you call me on my cell phone right now, I'm not going to answer because I'm in this session. And if you look at my calendar, I'm not going to be answering many calls during the course of today. So for me personally, it's much more effective for a client to call my office they'll be able to either guide the client into the appropriate route or get a booking in my calendar for that person to speak to me. So that's a personal preference. In terms of the cell phone itself, no, there's no integration between cell C and sorry, pulling a blank here, and Zoho. That said, I've never tried to do it, but yeah, it's based on the application that you use.
Thank you.
Thank you, Wahid. Caro?
Thank you so much. Great to see Wilhelm. I'm really excited. So there's lots of functionality that you spoke to that I could leverage. So thanks for that. Just a question from my side in terms of the integration. You've obviously done a lot of integration into the various plugins. Is it quite chunky, and do I need somebody who's well versed in terms of technical integrations, or is it quite easy to do in terms of the different functionalities?
So what I always recommend to any client wanting to start going down this level of integration, get someone in to do the initial scoping with you. Say, this is the roadmap. Here's the 40 or 50 automations that I want to do. Okay. Then you sit with that person and then you go through it. All right, these are the 40 things. These 20 I can do myself. These 20 I'm actually going to get someone to help me with. So some of the integrations are very simple. You go into settings, you click on workflow, you build a quick workflow rule, and there you go. Peter's nodding his head. He's done it himself. There's tons of online video material whereby you can learn to do that yourself, and it's very quick and very easy. And off you go. Other components are maybe a little bit more complex. If you want to have integration between Zoho and Facebook, there are online tools, but it's not as easy. You can try it yourself, but you're probably going to spend a lot more time and effort than getting someone compared to getting someone in to help you there. So that's just weighing that up and scoping it up front.
Okay, thank you. And then just one more question, sorry.
No, I just wanted to add to that, Caro, before you go there.
Thank you.
When I first implemented Zoho, I brought in consultants to scope out the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
This time around, because I'm more familiar with I suppose what I want to do, plus I'm rebuilding a business process. I'm loving getting involved myself with a lot of this stuff and figuring it out. But I have the time, and it sits in my sweet spot to do that now. Yeah. It depends on whether you're going to take lucrative time where you're actually revenue generating a way to do this stuff, and whether it's worth it for you to just outsource a lot of this stuff. Again, outsource or do it yourself. It's super simple, and anything can be figured out if you're willing to invest the personal time. It depends on whether it's worth it for you.
Yeah.
So a 50-50 thing where some of it is simple and some of it you get somebody in that's where it's more complicated. It's probably a good suggestion.
Okay,
sorry,
thank you. Which talks back to your soda, so that's great. So absolutely, thanks, Peter. That answers my question. And then just one more thing, and I'm sorry, I know we've got a Zoho person on the line, but just in terms of comparison to other tools out there, because there's so many tools out there, I'd like to just get a high level insight into how Zoho compares from an not integration, a plugin perspective. So I can see there are many plugins from a Zoho point of view, but I'm just quite interested to know how it compares with other tools out there.
So again, as I said earlier, if one tool tries to be everything to everyone, that's always a very dangerous place to move into as a business model. So let's take, for example, invoicing. You might love Zoho Invoice, whereas the next person can't stand it. They want to use Zero invoicing or another invoicing application. So the reason why we as outsource CFO started making use of Zoho was because we had the flexibility to say we want to, out of the 40 apps, you want to use 35, And for the other 5 components, we actually have something that we like more or works better or whatever. And we could integrate that into that. So that's the thing that we like and love about Zoho compared to other solutions.
Yeah.
Because in many other solutions, you don't get that open API component. So you are stuck in that tool and what that tool allows you to do. What we found is that the longer we've been on Zoho, the more technologies we started deactivating and migrate across to Zoho. We used to use HubSpot. Great. Zoho has a plug-in with HubSpot, by the way.
Okay.
So we connected HubSpot, sucked in all the information, ran the system for 2 months and switched off HubSpot because we're now happy with Zoho. And so forth. I can give 15 of those examples of other technologies we used.
Well, HubSpot's a great example. Thank you. That's exactly one of the ones,
From a price point of view, that's my last comment, and I know we're almost out of time. It's cheaper having it all on Zoho. That's the sweet short answer, because one price versus 40.
Okay. Thank you, Dylan. That's
if I can just please add to that. Hi, Caroline. It's Andrew here from Zoho. I know I'm employed by Zoho now, but I started using Zoho in 2017 in my business in South Africa, and we were using at that time, we were using Top Producer, which is an American-based CRM system. We were using Hootsuite. We were using Sage Pastel. We were using Google, Docs and G Suite. And eventually, we then found that Zoho CRM was going to be the CRM we wanted to use. And when Zoho 1 came out, and we had access to all the different Zoho applications, just like Wilhelm said, we then said, okay, well, we don't need Hootsuite, let's use Zoho Social. And then we checked to see, does it have the same functionality? And it did. And we were like, okay, great. And then we were using Google Drive, and we looked at Zoho Work Drive when it came out. And we were like, okay, this is pretty much the same. And we moved over. And eventually we just said, let's do Zoho 1, and actually implemented 15 of Zoho's apps.
Amazing.
That's cool. Zoho Books. Zoho Books is the alternative to Xero and to Sage Pastel. It's the Zoho's version financial suite. And that also connects into all the apps and works nicely.
Fabulous. So I think it's also the whole 80-20 principle as well. But the CRM for me is the fundamental aspect. So thank you for that. That insight is great. Thanks, Andrew.
Perfect.
We are out of time, folks. Any other questions before we sign off? Beautiful. This recording will be on the website, and this is the last of the initial 3 series. I'll be working with Andrew and Wilhelm to see what else comes up that people want to know about, and maybe run more of these as we chug along. But thank you for being with us, and have fun automating. Go Soda.
Thank you so much.
Everyone.
Thanks, Peter.
Thanks, everyone.